Hello guys, in this video I will teach you how to make some alert dialogs. That is the message dialogs, and then we had a single choice dialog, and then the next one is the multiple choice dialog and the dialog with the text field. So that is the goal of this video. Let's start. So I will start with a project that had the empty screen with the text in the middle of the screen. And now, if you want to get the shortcut, you can get from this link. Other thing, this project in the prospect, I already removed everything and just default from the Flutter. And then you can create that project from the command line, and you know how to do that. So in this project, we had a list of items, and then user clicks each item, it will display the property dialog based on the items. So I will convert the text here to become a list that will hold the list of items. Now I will use the list tiles to add each items to the list view. So we have each item like AlertDialog, single choice dialog, multiple choice dialog, and TextFormField dialog. For each item, I will have the empty action there. We had a list of items. We can see had AlertDialog, single choice dialog, multiple choice dialog, and TextFormField dialog. And now we will handle for each action. So for the first action for the first item, when we click start, it will show the dialog with the message. So in the Flutter framework, it has support the show dialog, and then it has some properties there. So now we need to add the context, and then we need to build the widget. So let's make the first function to show the alert dialog. Build the alert dialog, and here we use the show dialog from the Flutter framework. We need to supply the context and build to supply the the widget will be displayed in the screen. So here I use the AlertDialog that follow the material standard design, and then we have the title. It can supply a widget, and here we just supply with the text with the some information, and we have the content. Here just the text display the message, and we have the action. When user press to that action, it will dismiss the dialogs. I use the flash button to display the button, so we can see now. Can click alert, but the item it will show the alert dialog with the message. User can tap the yes, it will close, or we can tap outside, it also close the dialog. So the next we will build the single choice dialog. Basically it will use the same the scenario. Here we use the show dialog, alert dialog, but it has some update in the content, and let's see. Here I will add the data that will be used in the single choice dialog and multiple choice dialog. We won't use the stateful widget to change the status every time user update the items. So I will use the change notifier to help us to handle when users select any item in the single choice dialog. So I need to define the single notifier. It will have the current country, and then it will update that country and get the country back and notify for the UIs. I add the provider to the bus spec that will help us to supply the change notifier to the app. So let's update the run app. Here I use multi-provider that supply list of providers, and then header child we pass the my app here. So the providers, we will supply the change notifier provider with the first provider. Here we use the single notifiers that we already defined in the notifiers. I will build the single choice dialog functions. Here we will show dialog from the Flutter framework. It will supply the context and builder. The builder will return the alert dialog, but here have a little bit different. We will have the single notifier get from the context we pass in the main, and now we have the single notifier here, and then it will return the alert dialog. The title with the text select one country that will use the data we already built in the reverse, and then it has content. It will use the single child scroller view, and it has the child with content, and then we have child column to display the list in the item. It makes sure it can scroll. And next one, and then we need to build the list of children. Here we use the country and we use the map, and then each item we build with the RadioListTile. It will help us to have single choice and optional button. Here it supply the value, the string, and the next one is have the group value. That's the current selection of that group. It has the selected. We make sure that item can select it or not. That doesn't mean the status the current selected item. And then it had the on change. On change that means when user change status, click to the item, it need to update, and then it need to dismiss the dialog, we use the navigator of context and pub. And then we use in the function when we click the item single choice dialog here to call the solve single choice dialog. Build a single choice dialog, and now we can rebuild the app, and that we try with these functions. We click the single choice dialog. Oh yeah, the dialog will be solved here. When user if it's default, it will solve it with the United Kingdom, because in the notifier we choose the first item for the default value, and if we select another country here, we select the Germany, and then after that we come back, it will highlight the Germany here. That is all for the single choice dialog. And next step, we are going to build the select item for the multi-choice dialog. New the notifiers to the notifiers class that called multiple notifiers. Here, that's new class. I will add the multiple notifier that help us to manage the state when user check or uncheck item from the multiple dialog. So first I have the list of items that are private, and then it had the get to return the selected items from the private value. And then we had the method to check the item already add or not. And next one, we had the add items to check that item not add, and then we need to add and notify that the item has status check on the view. And then we also had the remove items methods that will handle behavior when user uncheck the item from the multiple choice dialog. I will inject the multiple notifier to the main app in the providers. I will add the new chain notifier provider and will supply the multiple notifier here. Here I will implement the multiple choice dialog that called solve multiple choice dialog, and it will use the solve dialog from the Flutter framework. It supplies the context and builder. The builder will return the AlertDialog. Basically that will be the same with the single choice dialog, but the body we are using the data from the countries, and each item will be the CheckboxListTile. And here we will get the multi-provider from the context we already inject from previous. In the dialog, it had a title, select one country or many countries, because that's the checkbox. And then we had the content with the single child scroll view, and it had container, it had the child column, and the list children will be get from the countries. The data will only build in the previous. In the list CheckboxListTile, we use the title with the text, and we had it on change based on the value. It can be add or remove in the multiple notifier that help us update the status in the dialog. And then we had the value to need to check that item only add to the list or not, so that we use that it has item. Okay, update the value here. Yeah, and then we need to invoke that method in the multiple choice dialog item in the list view. Because we just inject the new notifier to the app, so after review we can try with the multiple choice dialog. Here, every time user clicks each item, it will update the status here, check and uncheck. If it's not checked, it will check. If it only check, it will uncheck. But I forget to add the action here. That is for your task. We can add the action like in the AlertDialog here. We had action, just copy to below, and then we will see action. The content now here, and then we have action. No. Okay, here. Yeah. After that, we need to close and then see add action. So that's all for multiple choice dialog. And next, we will build the text field dialog. When user click here, it will show the text field dialog. We add the new method that called the show not dialogs, and in this method I also use the show dialog framework from Flutter, and then it had the context and had builder. It will return the dialog and the action. When user clicks on action, it will close that dialog. But by the way, in the main, it had a little bit different. Here we need to supply the text field, and I'm going to use the TextFormField. You can see we don't need autocorrect here. We hit the keyboard type. I just put the keyboard type text. Type text. Okay, and then I need to decoration because I want to have some note, and I can review the input decoration. Okay, we have the hint text. We need to enter your note, and then we need to have the icon note add. Okay, that's all. And after that, we need to invoke in our method when user tap on the column here. So we show just so as okay, rebuild, and then we click here. Wow, that's all for this video. So you can see we have the item in this video. If you don't use the ListView, which divide the item is also supplied here, I think that really useful for you. And then you can see the final update project I will commit in my Git here, so you can easy to see the implementation of different kind of dialog. If you like my video, you can subscribe. Thank you. I will have lots of video for element in Flutter, so I hope it helps you. Thank you so much, and see you.